Here's your FPL preview for Game Week 6. I made big changes this week. Stay tuned to the very end to find out what I've changed out of Game Week 6, where I'm feeling right now. Very interested to get your thoughts and how your team's doing, ahead of Game Week 6. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. On the screen is my team. So, radical changes. But before I get into them, I played the Wildcard this week. You'll be saying, probably thinking as well, Harry, why? Well, I was in a very difficult situation. On my bench I had Aït-Nouri and Wan-Bissaka both out for long term, and there's several changes that needed to happen in the team. Just it was catastrophic. Not being funny. 2 West Ham players, 2 Villa players. Forward line wasn't firing, so it was a massive struggle. I got a lot of initial picks wrong, going with like West Ham and Villa that both really struggled, and it was just a mistake. Although I did think that, in particular, Villa would struggle. I thought they'd be scoring goals, to be honest with you, but that has turned out not to be the case. So big changes were needed, and I played the wild card. So I've brought in the following players. I'm going to list them all out, then I'm going to get into the decision why in a little bit. So players I brought in across the whole squad. I've got. We do the 11, then we do the bench. So in the 11, I brought in Donnarumma, I brought in Tarkowski, I brought in Truffert, I brought in Grealish, and also Bruno Fernandes, and then lastly Erling Haaland. So again, just to recap, the players I brought in this week in the starting 11: Donnarumma, Tarkowski, Truffert, Grealish, Fernandes, Haaland. 6 changes to start 11, and on the bench I've also brought in Roofs, Strand Larsen and Mark Gahey. So the only really remaining players of the whole squad are Konsa, Van der Ven, Semenya, Dundai, Kudus and Evan Nilsson, who I brought in last week. So I think you can see why I needed to do the wild cards. I'll talk you through some of my choices then, talk you through my team. Donnarumma in goal when he's not conceded a goal, is he? I don't think. Anyway, since he's come to Man City, certainly not in the league. And Burnley at home next, and Brentford, Everton after. They're okay, they're decent fixtures, and I just think long term as well is a really sensible option, so not too much thought behind that. Bringing in Tarkowski, I think David Moyes' his side will be, I think they're improved defensively, but they've got West Ham at home, then Crystal Palace is a tough team at home, but Palace are more known for a defensive team than attacking team, especially since they've lost Eze, especially that's the case. So, as well, the aerial height from set piece. Truffert, I think it's a decent pick with Bournemouth, going to play a lot of games, but the big pull for me to go for Adrian Truffert of Bournemouth was the fixture run. Leeds United away, Fulham at home, and Palace away. Nothing's brilliant now in the Premier League. It's a lot more strength this year. Newly promoted teams are doing better, but they're still not a bad fixture run. Jack Grealish then, who I've currently got the armband on for this week in West Ham at home. Sorry, West Ham fans, but your defence is absolutely dire. Again, fixture run for Everton is okay. It's a little bit tough after West Ham. It's Palace at home, Man City away, but Grealish I'm thinking more for the long-term pit. Semenya is an absolute keeper. I think he's a really good player. Really disappointed with his performance against Newcastle, but still managing to pick up 5 points despite blanking. But Fulham at home, Palace away, it's not bad. Then Dye, I think this is a really solid pick as well. So going for him and Grealish, maybe a little bit risky though. And Dye already had in the team. So there's more about keeping him there. Mohamed Kudus, at this current moment, I've decided to stick with him purely due to the fixtures. Wolves at home. Wolves at home, Leeds away, then Villa at home, so that was quite big for me. And Bruno Fernandes, I want to say a little bit of an outsider's pick, but he's still selected by 20.3%. Next 2 fixtures were, the next fixture is kind of, I would say, next 2, you'll go next 2, they're a pull. Brentford away and Sunderland at home. There is Liverpool after that, so it might be a short-term option with Fernandes, but he's your best United have got to offer at the moment. Of course, that's bringing out one United player in Mbappe. It makes sense to change up to another United player. Erling Haaland then, 45.5% of him have him in the team. Big drop off, wasn't it, from like a year or two ago? I remember at one point 70, 80, 90%. Again, Haaland, I know he's expensive, but Burnley at home, Brentford away, Everton at home, he's banging form. It just felt like a no-brainer. Him and Salah really cost my team at the moment every week, so at least bringing one of them in. Evan Nilsson, I mean, I consider myself as someone who's thought a little bit more outside the box with this one, and he picked currently by 3.3%. So that's not a lot at all. It's like 14 of like 82 if we're going to give it in a percentage. So not a lot at all. It's been very mixed. Got game week 3, 8 against Tottenham, 5 against Brighton, 2 points against Newcastle. At the moment he's in the team, so they've got Leeds away, Fulham at home, Palace away, but it could be a possibility that I do take him out. He needs a service. Hopefully Semenya can give him that. We can do a Semenya and Evan Nilsson contribution for my team. In terms of bench picks and goalkeepers, I thought I was in a really solid position actually with Kelleher and Sanchez. I don't think they're awful goalkeepers. Donnarumma feels like a kind of non-brainer, and Sunderland have signed a lot of players, and having their number 2 only cost 4.5 million. For me, that's an absolute bargain. That's 1.1 million less than Donnarumma, and I would feel alright with playing him. Not the end of the world. So not necessarily I've picked him for the fixtures, although they've got, I think, Wolves in the next 3, Forest, Man United. It's not too bad, but for a long pick, I thought with him. Then we move on to the rest of the bench. Strand Larsen, I'm going to currently bench him against my club Tottenham, which wouldn't feel right to play him. Plus, I think Spurs are a lot more defensively secure under Frank. I wouldn't have a problem with playing him if he was. I think he's going to do well, although it is against Spurs in my team. I can ditch those principles because FPL, of course, still means a lot. But Strand Larsen, I'm thinking after Tottenham, Brighton at home, Sunderland away, I think he can score in both of those games. Ezri Konsa I've kept hold of. Villa, I think, have done okay, just about okay defensively. Attack's been there, definitely. They're real problems. The reason I've kept him, is Burnley at home, I'm thinking. In this game week 7, having said that, Burnley is not as easy as maybe we thought it would be. I brought in Mark Gay. He had to bring in a Palace defender. They've been very good defensively. I was just begrudging it because they've got Liverpool at home, Everton away, Bournemouth at home. Really tough fixtures, I think, but I brought him in again for the longer term. So that's what my team's looking like. Because I played the wildcard, there's a possibility this time the video gets to you, or by the time we get to the deadline, more likely it could change. So I'm going for, finally, I'm going to say this, above the points kind of average. I don't know what I'm aiming for this week because it's always hard to predict. We don't know how players are going to do, how teams are going to do, and the average is always so low. Reminder, I scored just 30 points last week with a 42 average for the rest of the players. So that's not very good, and I dropped from like 3.2 million to 5.8 million. Hence the push for drastic change this week. If I'm being honest with you, I look at this team, I look at the fixtures they've got, and I'll sit here and go, I think I could be scoring hopefully at least 60, 65 points if I had to predict now, but it's always tough to predict, as I said, in advance. By all means, let me know, whether it be in the comments, what team you went with, or you get in touch with me. If you listen to the team, you listen to the comments, your team, or you put a picture, a screenshot of your team, I will get back to you and reply how it is. But if you have any suggestions for me, any advice, as always, I'm no expert, so please do let me know. Hope you're enjoying the new FPL series and kinds of FPL content we bring to the channel, previews and reviews of every game week. Thank you very much for watching. All managers, good luck for game week 6.